Somewhere in your life, someone is calculating your downfall. They aren't using weapons, they are using calculated words, passive-aggressive microaggressions, and targeted insults. Every single time you rush to defend yourself, every time your blood pressure rises, and every time you offer an anxious explanation, you surrender your autonomy. You lose the war before it begins. When you react to an antagonist, you hand them the master key to your psychological infrastructure. You point directly to your deepest vulnerabilities and scream, "Look right here. This is exactly how you hurt me." The legendary philosopher Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. The architecture of this world does not respect emotional outbursts. The world studies them. Every time you allow your temper to flare, you enroll your enemy in a free masterclass on how to manipulate your reality. People do not insult you simply because they harbor resentment. They do it because they are conducting a diagnostic test on your mind. They want to witness in real time if your internal self-worth is so fragile that it can be shattered by a few syllables. The most formidable figures in history never wasted breath winning superficial arguments. They accomplished something far more terrifying. They mastered the absolute weapon of strategic silence. The individual who reacts invariably reveals. The individual who remains utterly motionless invariably controls. An intentional insult is a formal cross-examination from the universe, demanding to know, do you truly possess absolute certainty regarding your identity? Or do you require a stranger to dictate your worth? The precise millisecond you answer with emotional outburst, you kneel. But the individual who can stand perfectly frozen, the one who casually watches structural chaos unfold without losing the center, becomes terrifying. They are deeply terrifying because they are completely unreadable. Pillar 1. The underground psychology of verbal aggression. To defeat your enemy, you must demystify their weapons. Every insult thrown your way contains a calculated strategic intention. It has nothing to do with the literal definitions of the words spoken. It is a ruthless play for psychological territory and behavioral control. Malicious actors utilize insults like tactical medical probes. They press deep into the soft tissue of your consciousness, watching your micro-expressions to see what makes you flinch, stutter, or twist in discomfort. They are waiting to see your internal temperature skyrocket. Insults are highly strategic tripwires engineered to map your structural weaknesses. In the grand theater of human nature, a cruel insult reveals zero accurate information regarding the target. Instead, it serves as a complete, unfiltered psychological confession from the person who uttered it. Yet, the vast majority of human beings completely miss this reality. They perceive the attack through the distorted lens of their own ego and internalize the poison. Machiavelli issued a stern warning. Predictability is the absolute executioner of dominance. The moment your enemies can accurately predict how you will react to a specific verbal stimulus, you are no longer a leader. You are a puppet whose strings can be pulled at will. When an adversary insults you, they are taking your structural measurements, asking, what does it take to break this person's focus? How easily can I force them out of their rational mind? The more you respond, the more valuable data you gift them. What manifested as a minor emotional test transforms into a permanent system of behavioral control. Individuals who comprehend this loop invert the power dynamic. Instead of allowing themselves to be treated like an experimental subject under a microscope, they step back and assume the role of the master clinical observer. They sit in absolute silence, watching with calm detachment as the aggressor frantically overexposes their own inner chaos and emotional desperation. Consider what transpires under the hood of an aggressor's mind when they launch a massive verbal assault, and you meet it with absolute unbroken silence. They instantly experience a profound sense of psychological vertigo. Their grand experiment has completely crashed. The heavy weight of that silence burns through their ego far more violently than any sarcastic comeback ever could. They are forced to sit in the cold discomfort of their own actions, wondering, what kind of terrifying internal architecture does this person possess that allows them to look at my malice and feel absolutely nothing? That is the exact moment the invisible scales of power tilt decisively in your direction. Pillar 2. The Machiavellian principle of frame control. True power is rarely about overt physical dominance or shouting loudest. Power is dictated entirely by who exercises absolute control over the frame, the invisible psychological boundary that determines the meaning, tone, and hierarchy of any given human interaction. Most individuals lose personal power because they naively step inside someone else's frame of reality. When a toxic person hurls an insult, they invite you to abandon your reality and step directly into their custom-built arena, a chaotic space constructed on a foundation of provocation, unguided emotion, and psychological disorder. The exact microsecond you choose to react, you accept their terms and agree to play a rigged game by their rules. Machiavelli understood that human perception is vastly more influential than objective truth. The masses do not live by the cold parameters of reality. They live by appearances and emotional narratives. Therefore, a wise strategist never engages in a dirty fight inside the parameters of someone else's perception. Instead, they reshape the entire architecture of the interaction from the outside looking in. When you remain composed under a heavy barrage of personal insults, you execute a violent, invisible shift of the frame. You instantly make the verbal aggressor appear hyper-emotional and out of control, while you project an aura of absolute majesty, control, and unbreakable composure. The spotlight of the entire room shifts. It moves away from whatever words they chose to use and focuses intensely on the massive contrast between your absolute stillness and their pathetic emotional instability. Suddenly, without raising your voice a single decibel, they are the ones trapped under the microscopic lens of public judgment, not you. Every single time you make the conscious decision to refuse to engage in a low-level battle of fragile human egos, you rewrite the social hierarchy of the room. You transition from a low-level participant to the supreme observer. And in every domain of human conflict, the detached observer holds the definitive upper hand. Pillar 3. The strategic weapon of silent authority. The modern world has been brainwashed into misunderstanding the mechanics of silence, operating under the foolish assumption that quietness is synonymous with weakness, compliance, or fear. They believe the individual who is not constantly fighting to fill the air with noise is terrified or uncertain. But true silence is never the absence of power. It is the absolute highest manifestation of power. The individual who possesses the rare capacity to remain completely wordless, while everyone else in the room is sweating with desperation to fill the air with empty noise, holds the definitive keys to human authority. When someone attempts to degrade you, the most devastatingly destructive response you can deploy is an icy stillness. That absolute stillness carries an immense, crushing psychological weight that a million spoken words could never replicate. It forces the aggressive party to look directly into the mirror of their own internal void. Toxic people only insult you because they are desperate to provoke human movement. They throw verbal stones into your ocean because they are starving to see a ripple effect. When they launch a massive emotional missile, and your waters do not move a single millimeter, it completely unhinges their psychological equilibrium. Their internal monologue begins to panic. Did my words not pierce them? Why are they staring right through me? That growing confusion transforms into deep, agonizing psychological discomfort. And in the human psyche, that specific brand of discomfort invariably morphs into respect. Why? Because human beings are evolutionarily hardwired to instinctively fear and respect what they cannot accurately read. The loud, aggressive, reactive individual is completely transparent, a cheap open book. You know exactly what makes them mad, what makes them cry, and how to manipulate them. But the silent, completely composed individual is an absolute enigma. They are a deep black hole. Machiavelli declared that the lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. Therefore, an elite ruler must learn to be a calculating fox to recognize traps, and a formidable lion to terrify wolves. Absolute strategic silence is simultaneously the fox and the lion combined. It acts as the fox because it completely conceals your true thoughts, strategies, and vulnerabilities. It acts as the lion because it radiates a quiet, immense aura of underlying danger. When you choose to say absolutely nothing in response to an insult, you force the mind of your adversary to begin imagining everything. They project their deepest internal fears and latent admiration directly onto you. All of this intense psychological narrative is generated entirely within their own minds, completely independent of anything you have said. Pillar 4. How self-awareness creates absolute immunity. Listen to this fundamental law of human consciousness. Every single insult that enters your space and causes you to sting is actively exposing an unhealed psychological wound within yourself. The only reason words falling out of someone else's mouth possess the capacity to pierce your skin is because those words successfully located an unaddressed sector of your mind that is still begging for external approval or trying to conceal an insecurity. True human power begins the exact millisecond you fully internalize this realization. The external world possesses zero capacity to insult a reality that you have already fully accepted, integrated, and mastered within yourself. When you know exactly who you are, when you possess absolute, unwavering clarity regarding your flaws, your strengths, your dark side, and your brilliance, no external opinion on this planet possesses the power to alter your internal image. Machiavelli firmly believed that real, enduring strategic strength is never built on a foundation of blind, arrogant posturing. It is built entirely on an unblinking, hyper-realistic understanding of human nature, starting directly with your own character. When an adversary launches a verbal strike at your specific weakness, they place a massive psychological bet. They bet heavily on your complete lack of self-awareness. They fully expect you to throw up a defensive shield, aggressively deny the claim, or fly into an emotional rage. Why? Because they know that a visceral reaction is the universal human signal for a confirmed hit. It proves to them that their arrow found a vulnerability. But advanced self-awareness completely flips the structural architecture of the insult on its head. It transforms an aggressive emotional attack into highly valuable diagnostic information. Instead of allowing your ego to hijack your brain and asking, "How dare they say that about me?" you step back with clinical detachment and calmly ask, "Why did that specific string of words generate a micro-reaction within my body?" The moment you choose to take absolute, radical ownership of your flaws, you rob the entire human race of the ability to ever use them against you. Pillar 5. The insult ASA psychological confession. If you want to operate at the highest level of strategy, train yourself to see this reality. Every single insult launched in your direction is a highly detailed psychological confession completely disguised as an attack. The specific words and exact themes that people utilize in their desperate attempts to cut your character down almost never describe your actual nature. Instead, they provide a perfect, unedited blueprint of the agonizing internal wars they are currently fighting within their own minds. An individual consumed by bitter, unaddressed envy will look at your success and accuse you of being deeply arrogant. An individual drowning in a sea of personal inadequacy and low self-esteem will look at your authentic expression and brand you as fake, performative, or overconfident. The underlying psychology is beautifully simple. Human beings fundamentally project into the external world the exact shadows they are completely terrified to face within themselves. Machiavelli understood this human flaw with clinical perfection. Throughout his extensive observations of the elite courts, he noted that the weak, the cowardly, and the strategically inept almost always disguise their bitter resentment as high morality and their crippling jealousy as deep concern. When a toxic person tries to insult you, it is almost never an objective assessment of your character. It is a violent, involuntary reflection of the intense discomfort, shame, and inadequacy they experience simply by standing in your presence. Your growth, your discipline, and your aura are actively highlighting their stagnation. Their hostility is not an authentic weapon of power, it is a desperate symptom of deep-seated internal pain. To see through this illusion is to completely step outside of their matrix of control. You completely stop operating from a place of raw, primitive emotion, and you begin operating from a position of advanced strategic awareness. Instead of wasting a single millisecond reacting to their vitriol, you instantly begin to clinically analyze the data. You look closely at their desperate need for validation, their pathetic hunger for a sense of social significance, and their subtle crying plea for attention. The truly wise strategists of this world never take personal insults to heart, because they possess the advanced awareness to know that every spoken word carries the distinct, oily fingerprints of the speaker's own psychological rot. By choosing to remain perfectly calm, you effectively force them to keep speaking, keep digging their own hole, and keep revealing their hand. Their vocal tone, their shifting facial expressions, and their level of desperation become wide-open windows into their deep-seated insecurities. Pillar 6. The sophisticated art of subtle replies. While absolute, unbroken silence is your ultimate primary weapon, there will inevitably be specific real-world scenarios where silence alone is not the most optimal strategic move. There will be distinct moments where you choose to deploy a verbal response, not out of a fragile urge to defend your ego, and certainly not to engage in a petty shouting match, but to completely reclaim absolute control over the interaction with supreme elegance and devastating economy of speech. The absolute master key here is absolute subtlety. Machiavelli completely mastered the art of utilizing highly calibrated, low-register words that completely disarmed aggressive adversaries without ever crossing the line into open, messy confrontation. He understood with absolute clarity that the sharpest, most lethal blades in the arena of human strategy are always those that remain completely hidden beneath an incredibly calm, polite, and detached vocal tone. The vast majority of human insults completely lose their entire thermodynamic strength the exact moment they are met with absolute, icy composure. But when you pair that composure with a well-placed, emotionally neutral, surgical response, you effectively turn the attacker's entire kinetic energy right back onto their own skull. Let us analyze a classic case study in human manipulation. When a toxic person looks at your growth and condescendingly sneers, "Wow, you've really changed," the weak, insecure mind instantly rushes to justify itself, explaining their actions and begging for understanding. But the individual operating from a position of true power simply looks them dead in the eye and calmly states, "That is exactly what growth looks like." Look at the mechanics of that response. It is completely non-defensive. It contains absolutely zero explanations. It is completely final. It sends a massive psychological transmission that your personal evolution requires absolutely zero permission or approval from their sector. When they look at your standards and bitterly ask, "Oh, so I guess you think you're better than everyone else now?" Your immediate ice-cold response is simply, "I think differently." And just like that, the entire exchange is completely executed with quiet, undeniable superiority. The strategic objective of a sophisticated, subtle reply is never to win a loud public argument. Let go of that amateur mindset. The true objective is to completely and permanently end the exchange while maintaining absolute, unblemished personal dignity. To pull this off effectively, your vocal tone must remain completely steady and low, your vocabulary must remain incredibly short and direct, and your physical gaze must remain absolutely unwavering. Pillar 7. The long game of unshakable composure. Machiavelli understood with absolute clarity that true, historical dominance was never built on a foundation of rapid speed or impulsive reactions. It is built entirely on the rare quality of strategic endurance. The individuals who ultimately win the grand game of life are never those who react the fastest to a provocation. They are the disciplined souls who possess the capacity to completely outlast everyone else in the room. Absolute composure is never a one-time performance. It is not just about a single moment of remaining quiet during a meeting. It is about completely maintaining your internal psychological equilibrium across massive blocks of time, regardless of how many endless provocations, rumors, and calculated insults are launched into your space. The modern world is structured to constantly test your patience. It is designed to aggressively tempt you to trade long-term strategic power for short-term, superficial emotional satisfaction. The vast majority of weak, uncultivated individuals fall directly into this trap every single day because their fragile egos desperately demand instant validation. They want to be right immediately. They want to be respected immediately. They want to be avenged immediately. But the highly advanced Machiavellian mind knows with absolute certainty that emotional speed is the definitive executioner of strategic advantage. Every single time you allow yourself to react impulsively to a provocation, you are completely destroying your own leverage. However, when you choose to remain entirely consistent in your absolute composure over months and years, you effectively force time itself to become your primary strategic ally. People who thrive entirely on drama, chaos, and emotional volatility will inevitably exhaust themselves over time. They will systematically expose their complete lack of internal discipline through their own repetitive actions, while your absolute calmness steadily accumulates an immense mountain of quiet credibility, authority, and respect. The longer you remain completely unbothered by the storms around you, the more infinitely powerful, solid, and magnetic you appear to the world. Time has a beautiful, unvarnished way of exposing all truth. Those who run around constantly screaming for attention and fighting every single dog that barks will inevitably fade into irrelevance, while those who stay firmly grounded in their own reality steadily rise to the top of the food chain. Pillar 8. The Supreme Transformation, the Final Power Shift. We have finally arrived at the absolute summit of self-sovereignty, the final, permanent power shift. If you practice these pillars relentlessly, there will eventually come a highly profound moment in your life where you notice a massive shift. You will look around and realize that you have successfully trained your internal emotional system so completely that insults, rumors, and provocations do not even register as threats to your consciousness anymore. They completely fail to trigger even a micro drop of adrenaline in your bloodstream. They simply pass directly through your space like smoke, leaving absolutely zero trace, zero damage, and zero resonance on your spirit. That is the exact moment something deeply miraculous and completely profound begins to manifest in your reality. The entire power dynamic of your life permanently reverses. The exact same toxic individuals who used to aggressively seek you out to provoke you will suddenly begin to heavily hesitate before they dare to speak in your presence. They will look at you and instantly sense an underlying baseline of energy that they cannot quite define with words, an absolute calmness that feels completely untouchable, a heavy, regal silence that forces them to instantly second-guess their own social confidence. You have officially achieved the ultimate strategic state. You have become completely unreadable. And in a modern society that is hopelessly addicted to immediate reaction, absolute unreadability is completely terrifying to the masses. Machiavelli understood with absolute clarity that mystery is one of the most potent forms of command available to a strategist. He wrote extensively that human beings naturally fear whatever they cannot accurately predict, and they maintain a deep, involuntary respect for whatever they cannot easily understand. When your emotional triggers are permanently sealed away behind the wall of your self-mastery, your mind becomes an absolute impenetrable enigma. Your adversaries can no longer locate your boundaries. They can no longer measure your limits. And that profound uncertainty instantly morphs into massive quiet influence over their behavior. They will begin to treat you entirely differently, not because you walked into the room demanding respect, and certainly not because you threw a tantrum. They will adjust their behavior because your absolute composure forces them to become acutely, painfully aware of their own internal chaos. The scales of power have completely shifted, without a single word needing to be spoken. You no longer have to exert raw energy to assert your authority. Your sheer composure does all the heavy lifting for you. The individual who cannot be emotionally moved by external forces automatically becomes the sovereign individual who moves everyone else around them. It is an invisible, yet absolute social hierarchy built not on loud, toxic dominance, but on absolute, flawless internal control. Conclusion: the ultimate challenge to the warrior. Now, let us look directly at the raw truth that 99% of modern society will spend their entire lives frantically running away from. Real, enduring strength never shouts. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't demand respect from the room. It feels